I need to do some serious identity shifting. No, the police aren't looking for me, but according to the experts, this is the ultimate technique for achieving long-lasting change and achieving your goals. But wait, let me not get ahead of myself. Let me tell you why I need to shift. I'm not particularly proud of myself at the moment. All the good intentions and goals I'd set at the beginning of the year for my health and fitness fell by the wayside 6 weeks ago. I stopped exercising, stopped counting my macros, and just indulged. Don't worry, I have a list of excuses. My cottage was on its head with me sleeping in the lounge and my clothes and stuff everywhere as black mold had developed from the flood behind the cupboards. And they had to be removed. My sister was visiting, then my brother arrived, which was all great. And then I started emptying my storage unit, and then it got cold, and then. You get the idea. All excuses. I really berated myself. Why couldn't I, a reasonably disciplined, reasonably intelligent, reasonably motivated person, stick to what I knew was good for me? And then, as if by coincidence, and it was probably the universe just realizing that it just had to help this poor soul, I came upon the magic formula of identity shifting. Join me today as I chat about what two very different but same experts say on this hot topic. And just maybe it'll spark the change you've been wanting. I'm the Forest Fairy. Welcome to my corner of the woods where I'm rebuilding, revamping, redesigning a magical life and hopefully inspire you to gather your own fairy dust. Hello everyone, I hope you're having a fabulous week. Despite the level 9 warning earlier this week, the storm passed reasonably uneventfully over my little village. Thank goodness, as thoughts of last year's level 9 storm bubbled up through the mud of those memories. So as you hear, I'm off track with my health and fitness goals and very ticked off with myself. I just came short of either throwing all goals to the wind with "I'll never slim down anyway" or flogging myself like the practice in some branches of Christianity and Islam. I cannot understand that despite having a wonderful program, Train with Joan, which I really enjoy, and a strict routine that had a dedicated exercise slot every day, I still get sidetracked so easily. But then two of my favorite influencers and experts, Vishen Lakhiani, CEO of the personal growth platform Mindvalley, and Tonya Leigh, life coach and founder of the School of Self-Image, addressed this topic in a conversation that I chose to listen to this week. Coincidence? I think not. Vishen's conversation is part of a phenomenal course that I'm doing on Mindvalley, Be Extraordinary. In the section on creative visualization, he talks of a meetup with the Reverend Michael Beckwith, which changed his life when the Reverend presented Vishen with a nuance on the topic of manifestation. He said, "The universe doesn't give you what you want. It doesn't give you your dominant thoughts. Rather, it gives you who you are." This the Reverend calls the law of resonance, which means that the world bends and shifts to who we are. He explains that we tend to think about desires and goals and focus obsessively on the person, the house, the success, but if we rather change our inner state, the world changes accordingly. So you first have to become, and then your world shifts. Vishen also talks about the backward law of the philosopher Alan Watts, which is wanting something actually focuses on the lack of it, and then you are less likely to get it. The more you crave something, the more you are aware of the lack of it. So Vishen suggests that we trick our minds by shifting our current identity to take on the identity of the person who has already achieved that specific goal. For example, in my case, I want to lose weight and become a lean and strong person. If I were to take on the identity of someone like this, it would be a woman with the body and the mindset of an athlete. Someone who goes to gym not because they have to, but because it is just something they do. They don't see the consumption of the appropriate food as dieting or restricting, but as the necessary nutrition for a healthy body. Tonya's podcast, on the other hand, has the same message, but from a slightly different angle. See the link to this episode, The Power of Self-Image, in the description below. She says that your self-image creates your life, and if you want to upgrade your life, you must first upgrade your self-image. In her conversation, which she refers to the book Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, which is all about the human self-image and how it can affect your happiness and success. It explains the automatic control systems in machines and living things, and that it is much like the autopilot system of an aeroplane. It keeps auto-correcting to keep the plane on the set course. Tonya links this to self-image, saying that self-image is your cybernetic system that creates your path, your life. For example, if you see yourself as someone who only earns $75,000 a year, you will keep auto-correcting to make sure you only earn that. It's your regulatory system. So do we have the courage to decide who we want to be and then become that person before we actually become that person? And again, we're talking here about the courage muscle that we discussed in our previous conversation, Reframing Your Life. Tonya asks, how do you see yourself? Your image, your possibilities, your abilities, your personality, your character traits. And she reminds us that if we want to live extraordinary lives or just better lives, we need to become that person. Start thinking, acting, talking, dressing like you already achieved it. These two got me thinking, what is my identity? And specifically in the area of health and fitness. Am I someone who actually believes I'm capable of being an athlete, or do I deep down actually think I will keep failing? Fake it until you make it also comes to mind, but it's much deeper than that. After some research, I discovered that there's a bunch of psychology around the changing of behaviors. And it seems that the old theory is that of changing from the outside inwards. In other words, starting with the actions, working the process, and then getting to the I am at the core. The new way is to start at the core. Taking my health and fitness as example again, I should shift my identity to I'm a fit and healthy athlete. I should identify how such a person acts, what they believe and how they feel, and start embodying that. And then take the next necessary actions to support these feelings, beliefs, and character traits. It may well be that your goal is very big, and that trying to shift into the identity of someone that's already achieved it is way too intimidating or just doesn't feel right. I believe we can then take it in phases. Break up your goals into as many phases as you want and embody the person you imagine to be at each phase. So this has given me hope, and I'm taking time out to identify the person I imagine I would be when I've achieved my goals. Because it's not just my health and fitness goal, although that led me to this technique. I also want to apply identity shifting to a love relationship, my finances, creativity, and my life in general. I hope you've been inspired to dig a bit deeper and identify what does the man or woman who's achieved your dreams look like, act like, think like, dress like. Wishing you a wonderful week ahead and sprinklings of fairy dust as we continue redesigning a magical life. Until next time, goodbye